Hey, hi everyone. This is Admin from Admin 365, and today we are going to talk about basic troubleshooting steps that every Outlook user must know. In this video, we are going to focus on Outlook profile creation issue and how we can use different steps to successfully create a profile. So let's get started. Usually, to set a profile, we either use Outlook application directly or do it from the control panel. So from the Outlook application, whenever we have new install of the Office, we can just run the Outlook application. It will directly prompt for the email address and then from the password, and then it will create the profile. Uh, on my Outlook, we already have a profile, so that wouldn't give us that prompt. And the other way to do it is from the control panel. So on the control panel, we just go here. We go to mail here, and under mail you will click on show profile and add a profile, give it a name and hit OK, and then it asks for the information. We will add it here, and enter the password as well, and then hit next. It usually creates the profile, but sometimes it doesn't create a profile, giving us some error. The error doesn't have much information for us to troubleshoot according to it. So basically in this scenario, we have a couple of steps that we try in order to get this working. Usually we check few things, verify the password is correct, or verify whether you have MFA turned on to the account. So to check for the password, you can simply go to office.com, log in with your email address and type in the password just to confirm the password is correct. And if you have MFA set up on your account, you might need an app password, which is different than the usual password. So whether we have to use app password or the normal password, it depends on the authentication from the Outlook. So Outlook uses two methods to create a profile. Uh, it uses modern authentication or basic authentication to create a profile. And in modern authentication, we don't need the app password, while in basic authentication, we need app password for the Outlook configuration. So if you have Outlook 16, that is Outlook 2016 installed onto the computer, it basically uses modern authentication, so you don't have to use the app password. But it also depends on the setting of the computer as well. So let me just show you how you can differentiate between modern authentication and basic authentication. So the steps which we can use in order to troubleshoot the profile is when we fail while adding the name, email address, and password, then we can try adding the name again, the email address, and this time we will leave the password field as blank, and then we can hit next. Then it will prompt us for the password, and by seeing at the prompt we can recognize whether it is a modern authentication prompt or a basic. So if you see a big box of Microsoft, just as you see on the screen right now, it is basically modern authentication, and it will need your normal password. Even if you have MFA on, it will not require your app password. So make sure that you're using your normal password here whenever you see this kind of prompt on your computer. And then you can hit next, and it will configure the profile, and it will ask for the password, and then it will configure the profile. So we will not do that. And let me just show you the basic authentication mode as well. And this is the error which we usually get. It doesn't give us all the information. So yeah, the troubleshooting steps are limited. So we can basically enable the basic authentication on Outlook by simply adding a registry key. Let me just show you how we have to do it. We just have to search for registry editor, and under registry editor, we will have to go to the path which is actually current user, then software, then Microsoft, then Office, and the version of Office. So I have 16 installed onto the computer, so I will see the 16 or 16.0. But if you have Office 13, you might have 15.0 here. So make sure that you are selecting the version properly, and under 16.0 or 15.0 you will see a common folder, and under common folder you will see a identity folder. You just have to right click on that folder and click on new dword 32-bit, and you just have to name it enable ADAL. So once you do that, if you have a value set to 1, it will enable the ADAL, that is modern authentication. But if you make the value to 0, it will prompt for basic authentication in Outlook. You can just hit refresh here and then go back in creation of Outlook profile. Mhm. And again, we will not enter the password just to see the password prompt. And there you can see the basic authentication prompt. You can see it is a prompt from Windows Security for the mail application, and not as the prompt which we see for the modern authentication earlier. So this is the two-way for us to recognize whether the Outlook is using basic authentication or modern authentication. So now we know the difference between modern authentication and basic authentication for Outlook. Now let's get back to the troubleshooting part. So if we fail in creation of profile from the control panel, the steps which we have to follow is we can again go back to creation of profile, and you can add the name here, the email address. Don't enter the password, hit next. So if you see a password prompt for modern authentication, try entering the password again, which should be your normal password, not your app password. If it fails, then we will go back in the registry and enter the registry, enable ADAL, click on it twice, and you can change the value here. 1 indicates that we have modern authentication on, and 0 indicate for the basic authentication as we talked earlier. So if the modern authentication fail, we will try with basic authentication and vice versa. So if the basic authentication fails, we will change the value to value data 1, and it will prompt for modern authentication, and then you can enter the password and check. And this basically resolves most of the issue for Outlook profile creation. And if you are not getting the password prompt for the email address, that means that there is a credential saved onto your computer. You can go back to Credential Manager, which you can see here. Go to Credential Manager, Windows Credential, and any entry for Microsoft Office or Outlook.office365.com. you can remove it from there. So once you do that, you will be prompted from the password, and you can use this step. If it is modern authentication prompt, use a basic one by enabling the registry value to 0 and vice versa. And that basically fixes most of the issues with Outlook. But even if this doesn't fix your issue, just check whether your Windows is up to date as well. Sometimes it creates issues with that as well. So you can go here and click on check for update and make sure it is up to date. Once this is up to date, you can go into the Office application to check if there is any Office update after you have installed the new OS. So you can go to File, Office account, and then you can click on Update Office. And here you can see the option update now. You can just simply click on it and it will check for the update, and if there is any update pending, it will update that as well. And then you can give it a try again, and if that fails as well, then we will move to the next step. If it still doesn't work, then you can add a registry key, that is basically HTTPS root domain. What it basically does is it informs Outlook to exclude the query for root domain. So if you had a past move of your domain, for example, from the IMAP server to Office 365, or you can say from a third-party provider, which could be a GoDaddy, as they offer email services as well. So if you move from there to Office 365, Outlook might still have some information in the registry. So basically, if you have done migration in the past, you might have to use this and give it a try. It might fix the issue as well. So let me just show you how we have to add the key. We just have to simply open the registry editor again and give the required permissions. And in registry editor, we'll have to go to the same paths, which is current user, software, Microsoft Office 16.0 or 15.0 depending on the version of Office installed. And then we will click on Outlook and then Auto Discover. So in here, we just have to right click on New, DWORD 32-bit, and we will have to add the value, which is exclude HTTPS root domain. So you can just copy this, right click on this, rename, paste the value. Do make sure that you don't have spaces at the end or at the start, and you can hit OK and just give the value 1 to value data, and then you can hit save. Once you do that, go back to the control panel, do enter the email address, don't enter the password, and then it will prompt for the password. Then you can enter the password and check whether it is working for you or not. And just in case, for some reason, if it doesn't create the profile, then I would recommend using the application, which is Microsoft Support and Recovery Tool, which you can see here. You can just search it on the browser, Sara space plus Office 365. This is the link which basically has the application. So you can just click here and click on download to download the application. Once you have downloaded the application, you can hit the installer and it will initiate the installation. Once it is completed, let me just show you what are the steps which you can perform. So as you can see, it has a lot of troubleshooting steps for different applications of Office 365. But now we will click on Outlook here, hit next, and as you can see, it has multiple options here. but we will select I need help setting up my Office 365 email in Outlook. Hit next. Yes, it is the affected machine. Then hit next. Then you can enter your email address. And it will take its time, and it will basically give you the information after every check. Mostly it end up getting DNS issue. If you don't have auto discover set up in the DNS, it will throw that. Or it might point out some registry keys that you need to enter, which can fix the issue. So basically, this should be the last troubleshooting step. So if this doesn't work, then it will require second level support, um, provided that we don't have an active service incident on your tenant. This is basically the steps which we perform at Microsoft for first level support. You can give this a try whenever you have issues with Outlook profile creation. Do let me know how it goes for you. If there is any doubt, you can drop a comment and I will respond to it as well. If you learned something new, you can drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. You can watch my previous videos as well that basically has more tips and tricks fix the issues with Microsoft products. Till then, have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.